Welcome back to our channel, Hume's Little Homestead. I'm Katie and we're so glad you stopped by today. Update on our chickens. It is crazy windy outside, so I am just going to do a voiceover, but I will show you that clip now of our feathers, our chickens that had some feathers that they were molting, so their feathers look terrible. I'm feeding them feather fixer feed and their feathers are looking so much better, and I just wanted to show that they're growing in good, and so I'll show you that clip now. As you can see, they're all very happy. And if I get a close-up on this gray one, you can see those feathers are really growing in. And the white one, she was bald pretty much up to her head. And now she has so many feathers growing in all the way down. Her tail feathers are still a little bit lacking, but that's okay. And then my black Australops, my black chickens, they are looking amazing. And I'm actually going to be moving them out of the feather fixer feed area tomorrow to go back in with the other chickens, because I feel like their feathers have filled out enough that they don't need to be on this special feed anymore. The other thing I have going on is I found a recipe for sourdough bagels. So I have to tell you what happened. I went to clean out the fridge and I was keeping 1 jar of discard for the sourdough in my fridge, and I was just adding to the discard. I found 2 jars of discard in there when I was cleaning out my fridge this last time, so I thought I'm gonna pull them out and see if I feed them, because they smelled good, looked good. Hi, I wasn't sure if they would still be active, but I ended up with a ton of, I was like, I'm just gonna feed them. So I weighed it, and it ended up being, it was 520 grams of sourdough starter discard that hadn't been fed. I hadn't fed it for a couple weeks. And I thought, I'm gonna see what happens if I feed this the equal amounts of flour and water. So I did, and it is humongous. So I found a recipe from a channel called Simple Living Alaska. I love that channel. I've been watching it for a couple of years now. And they put up a recipe for sourdough bagels, and I had it on my watch later list because I really wanted to save it, and so I watched it today and I thought I'm gonna try and make those. So I'm going to double the recipe and try and make 24 bagels. Their recipe calls for 12, but since I have so much, I'm gonna see if I can double the recipe and make 24 bagels, and then I think I'll still have enough to make a loaf. I just thought that it was so cool and interesting. I'm really new to sourdough bread. I've baked bread before, but not sourdough bread. Yes, buddy, just a minute. Do you want to talk? Do you want to say hi? Say hi. Hi. You getting some words? He's learning how to talk. Anyway, I want to try out this recipe from Simple Living Alaska, and I will leave their channel and the exact video down in the description box because it's not my recipe. But it looks super yummy, and I have a couple jalapenos on our jalapeno plant that I'm gonna chop off and make jalapeno cheddar, and then I think I have some poppy seed. But let me show you how big the sourdough is, and I think my kids are gonna do some Christmas crafts after school today too. So I will include all of that in here. I hope that you're enjoying our Vlogmas. It has been interesting making a video every single day. I hope it's not too much. But the channels I'm watching that are participating in Vlogmas, I have really enjoyed seeing every day their kids' excitement and their advent calendars. And so I'm hoping that our channel is adding to the excitement and not to that a video every day isn't too much content. So thanks for watching. I totally understand if it's too many videos, just push watch later. I do that all the time. So anyway, thank you for watching and hanging around for our Vlogmas. So today is baking day. Woohoo! So I ended up transferring it to bowls, and I have them covered here. But you can see how active it is. And this is just discard that I hadn't fed for a couple of weeks. Maybe it wasn't that long. Oh, it smells really good. I love that sourdough smell. So here it is. I also forgot on this video, we have something really exciting going on in the Ladybug room. Look at all those bubbles. Isn't that neat? Sourdough is really neat to me. Usually I let mine rise in a jar, so it's weird to have this much starter, this much fed starter. It's ready to be turned into dough so that it can rise. So I'm thinking it'll probably make the double batch of biscuits, the double batch of bagels, and also a loaf of sourdough bread for this weekend. Here is how my dough is looking. It is way too big for that bowl, so I had to transfer it to our big popcorn bowl, this metal bowl. The only thing we've ever really used it for is when we make a big batch of popcorn. So I think it's good that I'm starting to learn how to bake. I can use some of our stuff. So I used 8 cups of white flour and 2 cups of wheat flour for the bagel recipe. And in the original recipe, it says use 5 to 6 cups of flour. So I ended up using 10 cups of flour for the doubled recipe. And that was just, it's getting a little bit dry and hard to work with. So I didn't want to add too much flour. I wanted it. So now I'm going to let it rest. And hopefully it will rise. We'll see. Here is the rest of the starter, and I am going to go ahead and measure it out. The sourdough bread recipe I've been following uses 90 grams of starter, so I definitely think this is more than 90, so I'll probably be getting 2 loaves of sourdough bread out of this, and I'm just going to do the regular recipe that I've been following the past couple of weeks, and I have 2 bowls, so I'll just let it rise in the 2 separate bowls. Just want to show the bagel dough ball. It is rising great. It is looking huge. I'm excited. Baking? Go ahead. Good job. I put the other sourdough right by the fireplace. It's also rising. This one had more starter in it than 90 grams, but I made it the same recipe. And I also used white flour instead of bread flour for the first time. This one, I've made it exactly how I've made my past 2 sourdough loaves that turned out really, really good. So it was bread flour and a little bit of wheat flour. And this one is white flour, a little bread flour, and a little wheat flour. I need to get some more of those flours. I have plenty of white flour, so that's why I'm just going to try it. And it is rising, so I'm curious to how it will taste. Our ladybug larvae have turned into pupa, so I'm really excited. It is day 11 of our ladybug project, and the larvae are beginning to change into pupa. This is what they look like when they change into pupa. They do shed their skin several times before this happens. So if you look right above, sorry, I'm shaking around here. If you look right above here, that's where one has shed its skin. This one here is turning into a ladybug right now. So that is called the pupa state. And you'll see them start hanging upside down. Let me see, there's one over here. Here it is. And like I said, sometimes they do that to just shed their skin. You see that one hanging upside down there? But the final time they shed their skin is when they become pupa. And you'll know it because it begins to change into a more orange color. They don't stay black. It changes into orangish reddish And then when they emerge, they are an adult ladybug like this one right here. So this spot right here is where I had that jalapeno plant. This jalapeno plant down here had a lot of aphids on it, and for some reason, I don't know if it's the way the sun hits it, when I put a plant right in this spot, it's really attractive to the adult ladybugs. And I have seen at least 4 on the plant right now, and I think that it just must be the location of the plant. Now, I did put a lot of little larvae on this plant, but I'm not seeing any of those tiny ones. They're harder to find, but I just thought that was really cool that we're on day 11 and some of those first ones that we actually saw hatch together are turning into pupa. I just think that is really cool. So this ladybug has lived its whole life cycle out in this room right here, and it's pretty neat. It would be more ideal if this room was a greenhouse, but you know, I've got a plant room and I had a problem in my plant room, and the ladybugs are really helping me take care of it. So I'm thinking that once the problem is gone, if, I don't know, because ladybugs laying eggs on your walls isn't the most ideal situation. So I'm thinking if it becomes a problem, I'll just open these windows and they'll fly away. They really try and escape more than anything. But here's that little egg sac that I found on the wall. Kinda crazy. They look so neat though. So I'm keeping an eye on these ones, and when they hatch, I'll transfer them to plants. They don't move very quickly once, like the first day they hatch, so I can catch them pretty fast because they don't move very much. I have found 2 ladybug pupa so far. So there's one here. And they just sort of hang upside down until they form a hard shell. Well, I'm assuming it's hard. I didn't touch it. Here's the second one I found right here. Uh-oh, that leaf just fell off. There's the second one right there. And then one is turning into one right now, right in front of me. Right there. So it's pretty cool. These ladybugs have lived their entire life in this room, from egg to larva to pupa, and now they're turning into adult ladybugs. Very neat. And this plant is looking better. Up close it looks pretty bad still, but it is looking better. There are less and less live aphids. I'm seeing a lot of the little shedding, but I don't see as many of the live aphids on there, so that is very good. I've found 2 more batches of eggs, ladybug eggs, on this pot alone. So there's one batch right here, and then another batch up in the crevice. I don't know if you can see it, right there. So that is kind of cool. They laid it right. Basically, the aphids, I've noticed they congregate around here. You can see 2 more here doing their thing. But anyway, they congregate around the bottoms of these pots. So that's interesting that the ladybug laid her eggs right there right next to what might be the heart of the colony of the aphids. So let's take a look at this habanero plant. It was very sticky looking before all of the ladybug larvae were on it, and it's looking much better. There are a few leaves that you can tell they're just a little bit sad because the aphids really sapped them. But I am seeing less sticky goo everywhere and more healthy plant. And like I had said before, this jalapeno plant right here looked exactly like that too. And now look, it's completely free of aphids, which is really amazing. So, and the serrano plant also, I'm noticing much less sticky residue on the serrano pepper plant. If I get a close-up, and I don't see nearly as many aphids. I actually don't see any aphids on this plant. I just see some of the remains of where they had shed their skins. It's kind of gross, but there's a lot less on this plant than there was. Really cool. The ladybugs are doing their job. Not sure what's going to happen if we get overrun. They are really laying a bunch of eggs in this room now. I think it'll be fine though. It'll be really good. Feel like there's definitely a storm coming. I hope that we get some snow. So before I'm picking up the kids from school today, I am turning on our Christmas lights, and I turned off the quail lights. We had to use the extension cord that was attached to the quail. So anyway, I've turned them on. That way when we come home, if it's dark and snowy, we'll be able to see the Christmas lights and they can brighten us up and cheer us up. Well, looks like the storm passed us, but it was really nice to come home to our Christmas lights being on. So glad I turned them on. They look cute. Well, the sourdough has all risen way bigger, and I'm thinking I'm gonna need to divide it. It's so huge. I've never had it grow this big before. I don't know if it was how warm it was in our house. This is for the bagels, so I'm definitely making the bagels tonight. Oh, it's perfect. It's so puffy. And then this was supposed to be a loaf of sourdough that I was gonna make tomorrow, but it is also just so fluffy. I'm thinking I might need to use it tonight. Oh, it's sinking as I poked it. Maybe it's not so much. Anyway, I will do the final lift and folds on these two, and we'll see how they go. But maybe I will put them in this bowl in case they continue to rise like that. So crazy! So this right here is supposed to make 24 bagels, because the recipe called for 12 bagels, but I doubled it. So this should be 24 bagels. Kind of looks like I might get more than 24 though. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Can you see it, buddy? Can I see it, please? Okay.
Just set it right there,
I don't know, just put it.
There, and then in their bag.
There you go.
Now we just need another angel, which is the Milo. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins.
What do you think about that scripture?
Good. It's cool.
It's very cool. It's very special that Jesus came and he is the reason we can be saved from our sins. Did you know that? Any wrong choices we make, he can make it better. Don't peek in the next one. Well, here are my bagels. Some of them are quite massive, but I'm happy with the consistency of the dough at least. These ones are a little funny because they were just the dough that was at the very bottom of the bowl. So they have more wheat flour on them. But the rest, they're puffing up. They're rising again. They're puffing up really fast. So I'm excited to see that. And I am going to follow the rest of the instructions and hopefully these will turn out good. Here is how they're looking after a little water bath type thing. And now they rise for an hour, and I'm going to chop up ingredients to go on top of them. Some I'm going to leave plain, some I'm going to put sesame seeds on, and some I'm going to put poppy seeds on. So, but some I'm going to leave plain too. And some I'm going to put cheddar and jalapeno on. Those are the ingredients I have to chop. I just have to take a minute to say how excited I am that these 2 jalapenos came from the jalapeno plant in my plant room. Here it is the middle of December, and my experiment of overwintering peppers and seeing if they would produce peppers for me. Granted, the jalapeno is the only one that's producing fruit right now, but I'm just really excited. I think if we didn't have such an aphid problem, the other peppers would also be producing. But I think the ladybugs are helping with the pollination. And I tasted one, and it is the perfect amount of spice. It's pretty spicy. It's a pretty spicy jalapeno, but it's not. It has a great flavor, and it's fresh. There's fresh food growing in my house, and I'm so excited about that. The bagels are still rising, but I went ahead and put some toppings on. I have sesame seeds. Look at that one. I think it looks pretty. Poppy seeds and cheddar jalapeno. I think I would have preferred, there's my timer for the other sourdough bread that's baking. I think I would have preferred to put the cheddar and jalapeno on right as the bagel was coming out of that water bath, because the edges have gotten a little bit firm. They're still puffing up, but I would have liked to have pushed the cheddar and the jalapeno down. I don't think it will matter when it's baking. I think the cheese is gonna melt the jalapeno on there good. But anyway, then I got one with some fennel and caraway. I thought that sounded yummy. And then I have plain ones for my kids who like plain things. I think they turned out beautiful. I really hope they look this pretty when they're baked. I did the jalapeno cheddar ones first. They puffed up way bigger. I cut that one to see if the dough was done inside. It needed 5 more minutes. I'm hoping that they're all the way done. They look so yummy. I'm so happy with how they've turned out. I think I'll give one a taste. The one that I cut. My biggest worry is that, especially I have the poppy seed ones and the sesame seed ones in the oven right now. My worry is that they wouldn't be cooked all the way through. So yummy. Okay, those are excellent. I think I'm gonna let the next batch go for 25 minutes because the middle was a little bit, I wouldn't say doughy, but it was definitely chewy, and I know bagels are supposed to be chewy though, so I don't know. It's good. So good. So I think it was completely done, but I think they could have gone like 5 more minutes and been okay. So I'll let these ones go for 25 minutes and we'll see how those turn out. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have already subscribed to our channel, we really appreciate it. Thank you. And it's been so fun to get to know you all and be able to comment back, and we're just so grateful that you've subscribed to our channel. And if you like this video, please give it a like. We will talk to you tomorrow since we're doing a video every day for Vlogmas. Alright, have a wonderful evening, or I'm doing this at night. Have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you soon. Bye!